Interpersonal relationships can have measurable power. Among the numerous interpersonal relationships around us, there exists a triangle. One is called the perpetrator, one is called the victim, and one is called the savior. One of your friends has a conflict with another friend, and this friend is the perpetrator, and he always bullies this friend. Then this friend does not want to confront the perpetrator to solve the problem, so he comes to you, the savior, and asks you to save him. Then you coordinate to help them solve the problem. This is called the Bermuda Triangle. This interpersonal relationship will definitely show signs of deterioration. Each of us faces four types of interpersonal relationships. The first type of interpersonal relationship is called isolation, which is you are alone like a Wi-Fi with no connection at all. This state of isolation often occurs in successful people, which is what we call being lonely at the top. This kind of person cannot feel the help from the people around him, nor does he want to seek help from the people around him. He spends more time giving in his life, and when he is with everyone, he is the one who tells others what to do. Why does this sound like me? And what about the people around him? Fail to recognize the worth of their existence, perceiving him as always assisting others rather than needing assistance himself. He refuses to ask for help, considering it a mark of vulnerability. When confronted with challenges, he endeavors to confront, contemplate, and resolve them solo, ultimately leading to social isolation due to his reluctance to seek support. It's not that he's not lively. It's possible that he's still lively with the people around him, can attend various parties, drink and chat happily with everyone. But he's really lonely inside, and he doesn't have a heart-to-heart communication with others. You will find that he often tries hard to achieve those difficult goals that he longs to achieve, but often fails. So we call this kind of person isolated. Of course, it's evident that this isn't a healthy state. Being isolated leads to exhaustion, stress, and a lack of rejuvenation. Continuous setbacks and failures negatively impact our well-being. The second relationship type is called bad connection. A bad connection occurs when someone close to you, with whom you frequently interact, leaves you feeling uneasy and uncomfortable. He constantly criticizes and pressures you to excel, making your actions centered on pleasing others. Many people experience similar dynamics in their relationships. Think of someone who strives for their father's approval, like the movie villain who feels overlooked, saying, "You've dismissed me since I was young, yet I do it all for you." This is a toxic yet intimate type of relationship where both parties frequently engage. But the problem is that this interaction will continue to drain your energy. There's a description of high expectations, perfectionism, unreasonable demands, nitpicking, withholding praise, shame, guilt, belittling behavior, and silence, just to name a few. What happens when this happens to you? Your leadership, energy, happiness, focus, and enthusiasm will be deflected and slowly diminished. You'll start to get defensive, trying to make up for it. You'll try to go back to the way things were, even back to the way things were, to make others happy with you and you happy with yourself. So you waste an inordinate amount of time worrying about whether you're good enough in the eyes of others. Ponder if there's someone constantly pressuring you, making you ponder their judgments and comments. This occurs in parent-child, romantic ties, and even with authoritative leaders. It's the second unhealthy connection. The third is fascinating. It's called a seemingly beautiful connection. What is a seemingly good relationship? It means that the people around you are full of positive energy, and they keep complimenting you, go shopping with you, spend money with you, have a good time with you, and play games with you. You even often participate in many high-class social exchanges, and you feel that your social circle is getting higher and higher. There are also some addictive activities, such as drinking and drug addiction. These relationships seem to make you feel good, comfortable, great, and exciting, but they do not bring you substantial changes. In the end, you will find that this behavior is called drinking poison to quench thirst. So these three types of interpersonal relationships are not healthy relationships. And the most terrifying thing is that there will be loop between these three levels. The concept of a loop stems from loneliness, driving a need for connections. It can lead to over-reliance on a person who belittles and criticizes, fostering an unhealthy bond. The illusion of a harmonious connection often lures people back. The constant reassurance becomes a veil, masking the friendship's toxicity. This is a toxic friendship, right? Gradually, you feel that these relationships are meaningless. I hate those who criticize me, and I hate those who say nonsense to me all day long. So you return to the state of loneliness. And after being lonely for a while, you start looking again, which becomes a vicious cycle. So these three types of connections exist around everyone. Many of our book friends learned that we should try to establish a third choice, so we should establish a fourth connection relationship. What are the characteristics of the fourth connection relationship? As the person being connected, you must have the courage to admit that you really need help. If you are in need of assistance, don't hesitate to seek help from others by asking, "Can you help me? What specific kind of help do I require?" Observe that even the greatest of superstars have partners to rely on. For instance, Warren Buffett has Charlie Munger, Michael Jordan has his coach, Whitebeard, Bill Gates has his partner, and Steve Jobs had his founding partner. Mark Zuckerberg also found a partner. This is because a fourth level of connection relationship is formed based on mutual care, truth-telling, and being constructive. It's crucial to have a supportive partner who will always have your back. Please note the difference between it and the second level, which is called bad connection. Bad connection is not constructive. Bad connection is only responsible for finding faults. You know that the easiest thing to do in this world is to find faults. No matter how well a person does, you can act like a master and say some profound words, but this thing is not helpful to that person. You don't want him to grow constructively from the bottom of your heart. If you really want him to grow constructively, you will find that discovering his strengths is equally important, right? So caring for each other and being constructive, to be honest, is a characteristic of the fourth level of interpersonal relationships. Another characteristic is that there is a flow of information and learning in this interpersonal relationship. That is, when you are with this person, you can often learn new things and get new information. Confucius actually studied this. In the Analects, Confucius once said that a good friend has three things: one fold and three halves: quality, quantity, and knowledge. That's the reason. The third characteristic is that in the fourth level of interpersonal relationships, listening can solve the problem of energy depletion. If you feel that you are exhausted and no one understands you, at this time, you don't need someone to give you advice, but someone who can listen. When you say these words to him, he can drink with you, nod his head, and reflect your emotions so that you feel that he really understands you. At this time, your energy will gradually be replenished. I hope that after listening to this book, you will not only add pressure to yourself all day long. Instead, you should know that when you need help from others, there is a lot of power from others around you. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week.